Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight in celebration of Dreaming of You, a novel in verse by Melissa Lozada-Oliva. Melissa will be in conversation with Jonathan Mendoza. I would like to begin tonight by acknowledging that the land on which the bookstore is located is the occupied, unceded, seized territory of the Peoria, Potawatomi, and Miami people. There are over 75,000 Indigenous people of many nations living in Illinois, and we strive to recognize and honor Native histories, literature, and communities. And we encourage everyone to learn more about the land on which they are currently viewing this program from. And one place to begin is by visiting native-land.ca. My name is Carly Nussbaum, and I work as the Outreach and Sales Liaison for Women and Children First. We are one of the last remaining feminist bookstores in the United States, so thank you for your ongoing support. Our physical bookstore is open, but you can also order a copy of Dreaming of You and More from our website at womenandchildrenfirst.com. And you can also use, of course, the very convenient buy a book box right at the bottom of your screen. Events are a vital part of our store's mission. And if you're interested in learning more about our events each month, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter or check out our website. You can, in fact, join us again tomorrow night in celebration of the release of the second edition of The Sisters Are All Right, Changing the Broken Narrative of Black Women in America by Tamara Winfrey Harris. Now, I have the privilege to introduce the authors who will be in conversation tonight. And as a reminder to everyone in the audience, you can ask questions using the Ask a Question feature, also at the bottom of your screen. Jonathan Mendoza is a Boston-bred, Chicago-based Jewish and Mexican-American poet, organizer, and social justice educator. He is a National Poetry Slam champion, winner of the Sonia Sanchez Langston Hughes Poetry Prize, and a 3-time award winner at the College Union Poetry Slam Invitational. He is also a proud anxious Virgo, Greek yogurt enthusiast, and devout believer in the power of young people to shape this world for the better. Melissa Lozada-Oliva is a nationally recognized writer and performer. She's the author of the poetry chapbook Peluda. Her poems have appeared in such publications as Breakbeat Poets Volume 4, Latinexed, Redivider, Wax 9, The Poetry Project, and more. Lozada-Oliva has been featured in Audible, Glamour Magazine, the Boston Globe, the Kenyon Review, BBC Mundo, and other media outlets. Her most recent novel, Dreaming of You, welcomes the reader into an undeniably powerful and exciting experience of language and storytelling. In exquisite verse, Lozada-Oliva creates a genre-bending portrait of longing, the urge to be seen and understood by others and ourselves. I was entranced by the words and taken along as Melissa resurrects Selena in a bid to make sense out of her world. I am so excited to hear the conversation tonight. So without further ado, Melissa Lozada-Oliva and Jonathan Mendoza.
Hello.
Hey.
Cool. So I'll read and then we can talk.
So, do you want to do like a piece and then talk, or like or multiple pieces and then talk after?
I'll just read the whole thing and then we can.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my book called Dreaming of You. The book is held together by this Greek chorus of chismosas, and they kind of introduce the story. So here is that. Hello, querido reader. Do you like poetry? Maybe you like songs. Do songs get trapped in your head like a rat on sticky paper? Are you afraid of dying, and does it fuel you? We aren't trying to sell you anything, but consider hanging us on your wall. Primero que todo, we love chisme. What is a meal without the seasoning of gossip? What is a conversation without a little talking some shit? We make eyes at each other through the trees. We clink our beers together on rooftops. We send messages later on the car ride home. We all know the story of Selena Quintanilla, the Tejano pop star who was murdered by her best friend and the manager of her fan club, Yolanda Salibar. There are heroes, there are villains, there are fans, There are girls trying to find their reflection in a rippling pond and then feeling startled when a piece of gum falls out of their mouth. There is a frog that thinks the gum is a fly and chokes to death. Where were we? This is a story of mirrors, or what happens when you bring the mirror back from the dead, and when you look in it, you see yourself eating yourself. This is about you, except when it's not about you. This is a love story, but it isn't our story. However, as chismosas, we feel that it happened to us. So we believe we are the best ones to tell it, and we will try to tell it to you the best that we can. Zombies are totally out and basically a fear-mongering tool to get you to filter your water or not vaccinate your kids. We are not saying we don't trust the government. Not this time. This time we are saying, don't you ever feel like people would care about you more if you were dead? And this poem is the poem where Melissa resurrects Selena after kind of going down various holes. Resurrecting Selena. My reasoning, because it is not enough to be seen, because I need to see, because I miss her even though I've never met her, because it had to be me, because if it wasn't, then it would have been somebody else, the medium. I'm tired of feedback and I'm addicted to the internet. If someone else gets involved, it would just be too messy. I need flowers. I need a moonlight dance. I need a song to sway to and access to Wi-Fi. I do some research. I go down YouTube holes. I come up with my own method. How I brought Selena back. 1. Grow out my hair. Purchase chunky gold hoops. Buy some bright red lipstick that will stain. This is mainly for effect, but it can't hurt. 2. I sing backward into a recording device and then play the recording device backward. 3. I can't tell my friends anything about this because they would think I'm nuts. 4. So I get rid of my friends. 5. I take out a loan and turn my bedroom into a lab. I take a USB drive full of Selena's images, songs, and interviews and put it into a pot of my period blood. After 3 weeks, roots begin to grow at its ends. I set up a table. I draw a figure on the table using lipstick. 6. I sing backward into a recording device and then play the recording device backward. 7. There's more to do. I wake you up and I ask you to quickly think of the name of the girl in elementary school with the prettiest handwriting. 8. I walk into the kitchen, tie a red string around my finger, say this girl's name 5 times while spraying fabuloso into the air. You walk in on me and are all, what are you doing? 9. I spray you in the face because I am a reactive person. 10. I run away because I am a reactive person. 11. I come back because I thought about what I've done. 12. Days go by. Finally, it is midnight and storming. I take the USB out of the pot of period blood and I put it in some soil. I add fertilizer. I've never been good at waiting. 13. There is a cracking in the air. The walls are vibrating and I'm holding the whole room together. I'm on the ceiling and underneath the basement floor. There's a rapid knocking on the sliding screen door, a scream coming from the pot. My cat hisses. The lights turn on and off. I'm in the closet spying and outside of the closet feeling like I'm being watched. Now it is midnight. I open a girl-shaped door. The knob holds my hand. A cloud of pink is in front of me rising from the table, the kind of stuff that leaks from attics. I put my hand in and scream. 13A. Now I am in a white dress running among the trees. You are behind me holding up a jukebox and it's playing something with drums. 13B. You lose me among the trees. I hear you calling my name. I want you to keep chasing me, and I don't want you to know how far I would go to find out the truth of something, to scratch an itch that will tear the whole universe open. I'm sorry about this, but I'm not sorry about this. I'm already lighting the candles. I'm drawing a circle in the dirt with salt. I'm taking off my shoes. I'm already feeling the dirt beneath my feet dance. I'm going to stop there, I think, and then maybe read one later.
That was, yeah, I was sobbing earlier today for multiple reasons. One of them was that line about scratching an itch that will tear the whole universe open. I just feel like, I don't know, when I hear you read it, it feels like it's like a new creation of like language, which is the way that just going, I don't know, conceptually I feel like it just like takes us in a lot of different directions and their images like pop up in every line that feel like so concrete, but like somehow connected, even if they're so diverging.
Yeah.
This is probably a really weird question to start off with, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Do it.
What's happening in your head? Okay, more seriously, like when you're writing, when you're sitting down to write a line like that, could you give us like a tour of like what's happening in your brain? Like
Scratch the whole
this is
universe. Okay. I think I'm trying to recall what it was like writing these because I feel like I blacked out and now I don't remember. But I think like with this one, oh, there's an ambulance. With this one, I was like, so this poem is based off of Terence Hayes' poem Instructions for a Séance with Vladimir's. So I like, he has like all these numbers and it's divided by like a reasoning and the medium. Okay. Scary. And I think I just like the last three stanzas is really like, not a lot of it is like rooted in like real science, really. It's really like mystical and like macabre and mad. And I think I was like kind of thinking of like all of these horror movies and like the song Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, and really just like this image of like a woman in a white dress, but also I guess a line, a scratch, it's itching a scratch that could tear the whole universe open. I think maybe speaks to like intrusive thoughts that I have where if I listen to them, they could really like mess up my day or my life. And I think like bringing Selena back to life for this character is this like intrusive thought that she finally gives into, and like crosses the threshold. And I think maybe that's what was going on in my brain.
I love it. No, I think like, I mean, there are just like multiple lines like that just like really stuck with me. One of them was towards the end. There was something, I hope I don't botch the exact phrasing, but about like smelling like disconnected Wi-Fi. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just like, it's not like something doesn't immediately jump in my mind. Like I don't know what that smells like, but I feel like I'm chasing for what that feels like because it's so intriguing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a similar thing is going on there with that line as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think with lines like those, I'm like really like, I don't know, something maybe like clicked where I was like, I like really like went through to something. For a while, and I still do this, I make like Valentines for people and I just like send them out and they all like they all say different things and it's like 50 to 100 different like little stories. And I feel like I'm like squeezing out parts of my brain. And that line very much was like, I'm squeezing out a part of my brain because that line is so weird. But also the whole book is about like the internet and like connection and like, this like sixth sense of Wi-Fi that we can like feel over a phone. Yeah. And like the intimacy of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have another question, but I don't know if you want to do another piece first, or do you want me to ask it?
Ask and I.
Ask away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Ask and you shall answer. Okay. So I am curious, because obviously like we first knew each other through Slam in college many moons ago. And I think like also hearing you read like sort of like brings me back to like moments of like seeing you slam. And I'm just sort of curious about how you feel like your writing has been, especially like this novel, has been like influenced by your experience in slam and performance, ways that it has, you feel like really benefited the way that you write today, maybe ways that it has been challenging to like transition into out of like or non-slam writing. yeah, if you could talk about that.
Yeah. I think, well, like with slam, every slam poem, every like spoken word poem has to be, I mean, at least in the competitions, they had to be,
Mhm.
had to be like telling a story, and they had to have like a beginning, middle, and end, and they had to like grab the audience, and you had to like get a 10.
Mhm.
And I think like um I think I'm always gonna be this poet, but slam really like let me be like a storyteller. And even when I was writing poems like in my MFA, I kept wanting to like write little stories. Um, and I think that has been like that was like the biggest influence writing this book, I think. And then I think like I don't know, I wanted the poems to like be alive, and I wanted them to be able to like be read out loud. I really wanted these poems to like sing,
Mhm.
and I think I wouldn't have had that mentality if it weren't for all of my years in slam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when you were talking about like some programs that you were doing a while back that like some people were like surprised that your writing was good because they're like, oh, you're a slam poet, like you shouldn't be good. Um like I don't know, my question was, I kind of lost it once I took on that character.
But talking some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. um yeah, I mean, do you still find people reacting to you in like kind of odd ways when you read with emotion?
You know, I had this like weird I was reading with this author that I like really love,
Mhm.
and I still really, this isn't like shady. I don't want to sound shady, but I was like I was like, I loved your reading, and I loved your story like so much. It means like so much to me. And I had just read before her, and she
Mhm.
was like, "Thank you. You are such a performer." And I was like, "Oh, like did you like my writing?" And then I think like she really, I mean, honestly, I probably just like heard it that way, and I'm like really sensitive about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I also feel like it's about your audience. Like I think if I have, I mean, I guess just so many years of doing performances, especially as like a teaching artist, which you also have experience doing,
Yeah.
of trying to bring poems to young people who maybe, I don't know, I feel like I often find in the classroom like prefer a certain kind of delivery. Like they just are much more engaged when someone
Yeah.
is emotional and emphatic and does hand gestures and movements. It's just like a lot more engaging. And I think that's been such a tool for like young people, and even doing like college slam, other college students. Whereas I feel like more literary spaces, maybe what they notice first is the performance of it. And it's almost
Yeah.
like
It's like I'm
distraction.
taking it back. But then it's like, but everyone's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. No one should feel bad about like sounding alive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Good wisdom. Um, oh, I had another question on my mind. Yes. Okay. So full context for the audience. I'm a little emotional right now for multiple reasons. One, I was reading some of these pieces by Melissa, and crying earlier in the day from them. And then also I was like, oh, would like additional context for this beautiful book. And I was like, I've never watched the Selena movie. And that was a dirty secret of mine until now. But I was
Ooh.
just cancel. Um, well, I felt like it was like Titanic. Like I don't want to like sit down on a relaxing Saturday afternoon and watch a bunch of
A
people drown.
tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen. It's not like a
You do.
surprise.
Yeah, the whole thing is like sad because you know what's gonna. What if
You
someone
know,
watched it and they had no idea? Oh my god.
you're like, wait, she dies.
Wait a
The
minute.
boat
What?
sinks.
Wait, what?
I thought the Titanic made it okay.
Yeah.
But where I was going with that was, well, I remember seeing on your social media like yesterday a friend posting about like hearing you on the radio, and getting really excited, and I'm about to make a comparison that might make you cringe. So hold on to your socks. But then there's a scene. There's a scene. Yeah, just hold on real tight. There's a scene in the movie where they're at the, I forget, they're like getting tacos or something, right? And they overhear on the radio that like she has a hit single, and I couldn't help but like draw that connection. And I just feel like so much of your book is like about growing up, in many ways like idolizing a certain figure, or developing this adoration for them and feeling represented by like a Latina artist. And I feel like I've also been around you in many moments where you do a reading and young Latinas and young Latinx femmes like come up to you and be like, I see so much of like you and me and me and you, like just I feel represented. And I don't know, I was curious to ask, like, in these past weeks, like your book has gotten so much well-deserved praise, and I'm sure like a lot of people are saying that and feeling similar things for you and your work that you kind of describe in the book, about folks you look up to. Does it feel weird? Like obviously this isn't your first rodeo, you know, of being appreciated and recognized, but that's great. Yeehaw. But how's it feeling? Does it feel odd? Does it, how have the past few weeks been?
Yeah, it does feel odd. It is like weirdly meta. The whole thing is like really meta.
It's performance art, actually.
It's like performance art, and then it's like writing the book is like bringing Selena back to life. Like it's on this like, it's really like, I mean, I think it feels good. Some attention feels like good. I've been like working on this for such a long time. And then I felt kind of like, oh, I've been doing nothing. No one cares what I do for such a long time. And then like, now I'm like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, all these things were inside of me and now people are holding it in their hands. And it's just like, it's really wonderful. I had this like book release last week, and I hadn't like done like a signing in like a long time. And I don't know, it's very emotional. And I feel just like really grateful. I think the whole thing is like, I don't want to like, I don't know, when someone admires you, or you don't want to disappoint them. And I think that's like what is at the heart of this book too, is like, this character makes this like huge mistake. And then kind of and then tries to fix it, and then has to deal with like this uncertainty of like, what if you know, she doesn't, well, I won't spoil it.
It's not the Selena movie or the Titanic.
Not the Selena movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, attention is nice, and then I would just want people to be like critical of like things that they give attention to. Yeah.
Did that comparison make you cringe at all?
No, that was actually like, I forgot about that, and it made me feel emotional.
Socks are being held. That's good.
They're like, oh my gosh, she's on the radio. And they're all like jumping up and down, right? Oh.
Yeah, no, exactly the same situation. Oh, okay. I was thinking of this question. There's a question in the chat that I want to ask, if that's cool. So this novel, despite being a work of fiction, feels very personal as well. Why was it important to name the main character after yourself? I definitely had that same question.
Yeah. I don't know. I think at some point it just felt weird to like make it somebody else. Like, but I was like, Maribel.
Maria
is a fiction writer in Philadelphia. Like,
yeah.
I think I didn't realize. Yeah, I just like decided to do that, and then I couldn't go back. So, also like in the beginning, there's this like part with the cast of characters, where like the last character is Melissa Lozada-Oliva after people like being introduced, and Melissa Lozada-Oliva says, "It's been me. It's always been me the whole time." And I kind of wanted there to be this like, you know, this is all. every time somebody writes something, especially when it's fiction, it's like all of them, everyone you see in your dreams, even like the strangers on the street who you apparently like come into your dreams, whatever, everyone you see in your dreams is you. Like the lovers you see in your dreams are you. The like people who are running at you with knives are you, because it's your head. So I think that was important to me, and like thinking about like how you project yourself onto someone that you have a crush on, or a celebrity that you worship, or like these memories of your family, like all of that is you. Olivia wrote this like really beautiful thing in praise of my book where she's like, what did she say? You can't tell the person you make out with was your crush or yourself, and what's the difference? And I think that is interesting. So yeah.
It also makes me think, like, going back to what we were talking about earlier of, oh yeah, sorry, I should remind people, you can ask questions in the little thing. There should be a button that says ask a question. So yeah, go ahead and do that. What also makes me think of what we were talking about earlier about like transitioning from like slam or performance to page. And I think one of the things that's commonly talked about with slam or performance is that it's you, like, you know, it's literally you. There's no, I mean, you can do a persona poem, but ultimately, like, it's your body, your voice, your presence on stage, and there's no hiding behind anyone else. And so even if you're doing a work of persona, it's still like that immediate knowledge from the audience of you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that played any role in your decision?
Yeah, probably. I think like, I mean, before I decided to do this, these were all like personal poems. So a lot of these poems I had written, like, you know, not under this like Selena theme. And then I realized that like it was all kind of, I was like stringing a bunch of things together. So yeah, I think like, you know, my poetry is so personal, and doing slam, you are just like telling your stories, unless you're making them up.
It's very dramatic.
It's so dramatic. Yeah.
I think, like, on that note, I think I was going back to some of the pieces that devastated me the most in a great way, were the contrapuntals, like one towards the beginning. One towards the beginning and one towards the end. And I think, like, because I went back towards the one towards the beginning after reading that one at the end, which just like wrecked me in a wonderful way. How did those come about? Was it like a similar thing, like you first wrote that first one and then it morphed into the second?
Yeah, I think the contrapuntal, I was looking through my notes last week because I was like, you know, trying to have closure about this book. But that one, the one at the end, so the one at the end is called Yolanda and Selena Don't Talk Anymore. But it originally was like Yolanda and Abraham have a conversation. And I was like trying to compare like how they were these like similar forces in Selena's life. And then I think that form is so useful for getting for like dialogue and getting people to talk to each other. And I wanted that to happen. I wanted them to have this like final conversation that mirrors their final conversation, which ends Selena's horrible murder. And then I wanted that relationship to also mirror Melissa and this like love interest who's just known as the you. And I wanted that, so that they're having this like breakup argument, that, you know, every breakup has two sides. And then, you know, if you read those two poems together, they make this like messy conclusion that is like sad. And yeah, so those are like the two like big relationships in the book. Actually no, there's like three, which maybe fits with a contrapuntal. Yeah, and I wanted them, I wanted to like use that to talk about like love and sexuality and nuance.
Your hand gestures are doing a lot more than the podcasts, ever could. It's great. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Word. You want to keep talking?
Yeah, I could read that one if
I would love that.
yeah.
Whichever one.
Okay, so a contrapuntal is two poems facing each other that you can read on their own and together. So this one is called Yolanda and Selena Don't Talk Anymore. So this is Yolanda's side. I stopped you just in time. Now you'll be remembered. They'll never hear me sing. Most of the time, I'm a villain or a lesbian. Jealousy reveals a Polaroid of the woman I am not. When I called you bitch and shot you, what I meant was love. I just didn't want you to go. In another life, I am someone I can be proud of, the face you see in the moon. In another life, you want to love me. We are on the road going 85, playing a tape with only 2 songs. My arm is around your shoulders and we are wasting time like water. You're breathing in my ear. And this is Selena's side. To dream about love for all eternity. That's why death isn't so bad. I like to think I've been pretty lucky for all of my life. I'm a saint who loved too hard, trusted too deeply, a prayer whispered violently, a letter stained with fear. I heard fans cheering. Their hands came together because they loved me. My heart was once the shape of a pink fist before it turns blue. I was brain dead before I was a headline. In this dream, I am a wife and a mother, a woman who says yes. I'm marinating steak, and when you want a bite, I let you. Somewhere far away, I am on a loop and I can't stop smiling. I am still alive, and everyone is watching, an entire country singing in my ear. And this is them together. I stopped you just in time to dream about love. Now you'll be remembered for all eternity. That's why they'll never hear me sing. Death isn't so bad. I like to think I've been pretty most of the time, lucky for all of my life. I'm a villain. I'm a saint or a lesbian who loved too hard, trusted too deeply. Jealousy reveals a prayer whispered violently, a Polaroid of the woman I am not, a letter stained with fear. When I called you bitch, I heard fans cheering. Their hands came together and shot you because they loved me. What I meant was my heart was once the shape of love, a pink fist before it turns blue. I just didn't want you to go. I was brain dead before I was a headline. In another life, in this dream, I am someone I can be proud of. I am a wife and a mother, the face you see in the moon, a woman who says yes. In another life, I'm marinating steak, and when you want a bite, you want to love me. I let you. We are on the road going 85. Somewhere far away, I am playing a tape with only 2 songs on a loop, and my arm is around your shoulders, and I can't stop smiling. We are wasting time like water. I am still alive, and everyone is watching. You're breathing an entire country, singing in my ear.
Ooh, okay. Taking a deep breath.
Oh my God.
Just start sobbing on camera.
Oh my God, Jonathan.
That's where I'm at. Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's so much that sticks out to me in this piece. I think a lot of it is like the intimacy with which you like approach this. Oh no, Adobe Flash Player, go away! Not right now. Sorry. Like just the intimacy with oh my God, with which you like approach the persona and the voice that you lend each character. And I think it was interesting earlier today watching the film and just feeling like everything, a lot of the mainstream content that's out there about Selena and those around her are often from like specific perspectives and how they saw her. I guess I'm curious, like in your time writing this book, of were there any specific things that you, or I guess like how did your knowledge of these different characters kind of evolved as you maybe learned more about them, as you dug into their lives a little bit more? How did that kind of shape their voices in this book?
Yeah. I think I did like not that much research. I spent a lot of time on this website called selenaforever.com that has snippets of actually has like entire uh, transcripts of the Yolanda Saldivar's trial.
Hmm.
And so, you know, the doctor who um, looks at Selena's, okay, like trigger warning, talking about like a dead body, but when he is describing Selena's heart, like he's like describing how how he knows that she's dead because of the color that her heart is.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, saying that is like evidence against like putting Yolanda into prison. And then at the same time, like Yolanda's family goes up and as like a character witness for her to talk about like how like loving and good she was. It's all like very, I mean, sad and like kind of like dubious. And I was really moved by like him talking about the color of her heart.
Mm-hmm.
And like that just like really disturbed me and made me sad. I think I just the thing is there's only so much you can look into Selena's life because she was so young. And I wanted to imagine her growing older. Like all she wanted was to be somebody's wife and to have a bunch of children. She wanted to have like a bunch of like that's like beyond like stardom. Like she wanted, you know, all of this love in her life. And Yolanda, I think, really wanted to be loved too in this like impossible way. And I think that just, you know, and then my imagination made me do things with that. Yeah.
My imagination made me do things.
What was my imagination?
Yeah, I'm not going to use that quote out of context.
Yeah, don't.
On that note, I see a great question from Max. Shout out to Max. Just, yeah, speaking about, right, the characters in this book and her actual life. Max says, how did you come to include the letter from Abraham reacting to the resurrection? And does this mirror how you feel he might react to the novel?
Yeah, totally. I feel like I'm expecting a letter like that very soon. He wrote this like really long Facebook status about this. There is this kind of like telenovela based on this journalist book about like Selena's secrets. And like the big secret, which like who knows if this is actually true, was that she was like sleeping with her plastic surgeon and was pregnant with her plastic surgeon, and this is what like Yolanda knew. And all of it is like very blasphemous. So Abraham wrote this very long Facebook status that is very like boomery and you know, defensive. I think I also feel like really tender towards him because he's like, you know, a father in mourning. But he does feel like a bit sinister to me. I think you know, in the cast of characters, it says like Papi / Abraham Quintanilla. And if this was like a play, like the person playing Melissa's dad would be the same person who's playing Abraham Quintanilla. And, you know, he's just like a symbol of like Latinx, like machismo. And, you know, underneath the hard, toxic shell of Latinx machismo is like a small, confused boy who uses a lot of exclamation points.
Yeah, I think that's a really great description of what it is.
Yeah.
Where we got some exclamation points in the chat. Perfect. Yeah, I'm curious also on that. Oh wait. Like what are, I mean, there's like a lot of lessons to draw from your book here, and I feel like each poem has something for the reader to like really grasp and think about and hopefully learn from. Do you feel like regarding like Latinidad, which is of course like something that's present in the book, are there's kind of like key things that you hope the reader walks away with either thinking about or having questions about or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it's like at the end, well, I really wanted this this is like a problematic comparison, but I wanted, you know, resurrecting Selena and then eventually killing her again to be a kind of like, you know, a symbol of like what I want to do with Latinidad. Is you know, like Selena has like long been a symbol of Latinidad and like what a Latina should look like, whatever that means. But like she didn't ask for that. Like we put that on her. The industries put her on that on her, like t-shirt companies, keychains, etc. All the ways to make money put that on this like this woman's legacy. So I wanted people to like question like why they feel good when they see themselves and how much that is tied to capital. And I lost my train of thought. Yeah, maybe I think that's it. I also when you're, I say this a lot in my interviews, but like when representation isn't about being seen, it's about being sold, and like what happens after you're seen. What, you know, like when you're finally reflected, like what do you do, and what happens like if you don't do anything for like the progress of others. That reflection can like morph and become maybe something really ugly that you don't want to look at. Yeah. Mulan.
Mulan.
When will my reflection show?
Okay. Yeah. I think you should have kept singing, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at this other question we have. I found the references to how Selena's life may have continued so potent. What triggered these images or projections of her, for example, selling the Selena doll?
Ooh, is that like the, oh, I see. I think, well, I think I'm just looking at the trajectory of like, you know, young stars, aging and like what happens there. For example, Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney Spears' younger sister, has like her own like scooter that she sells, and it's like a Zoe 101 scooter, and it, I don't know, that's like deeply depressing to me. I also think like you know, there was this interview with Will Smith and the Stars of Aladdin where he like presents the Stars of Aladdin with like little dolls of themselves, and then like the woman who's playing Esmeralda, not Esmeralda, oh my god, Jasmine, Esmeralda's on my mind. Someone thought it was Esmeralda for Halloween, and I was like, I'm Kate Bush, obviously. Okay, but he gives them these like 2 dolls, and she's like, this is all I've ever wanted, a doll who looks just like me. And I think like a lot of like conversations about representation like are about that, like what kind of doll you get to hold. And then it's like, okay, like beyond that, like why are we holding a doll? So it's fun imagining like what could have happened.
Yeah, no, I mean those, like especially the alternative ending poems, like definitely stuck with me.
Yeah.
I was like, there was, sorry, I keep referencing the movie. I just watched it like an hour ago. But there was also a moment where in the movie where like Selena is talking about other stars like during her time who are on the come up, and she names Madonna, Janet Jackson, and Paula Abdul, and that like messed me the F up because it's like, oh my gosh, like
her.
yeah, exactly. It could have been her. And I also think like in reference to what you're just talking about, and those pieces, I mean, I don't know enough about Paula Abdul than American Idol and those music videos, but like I know for sure Madonna and Janet Jackson have had like their share of like controversies in the news, and just seeing her, like thinking of her in that list, like in today's day and age. I don't know, it just really stuck with me. I was also wondering if you don't mind sharing about, because in those poems you leave the endings like chopped off, like can you talk about your decision to do that?
I think I really liked, yeah, those poems are like 3 poems at the end called alternate endings, and it's called Selena Doesn't Die, Selena Still Isn't Dead, and Selena Still Has Some Time Left. And I think like that last title, Selena Still Has Some Time Left, maybe reflects like what I'm doing with chopping off the endings. And then like, you know, I kind of wanted to echo like how her life was cut short, and how I don't know, maybe in this like Ferris Bueller's Day Off way, like life comes at you fast. And like I really wanted to like do this like montage of what Selena's life could have been from beginning to, from like right where we left off to the end. And you know how like those moments, like those like really arbitrary like mediocre moments like really pass us by, and how I wanted her to like, I wanted her to have that. Yeah.
Sorry, I just didn't see Ferris Bueller coming. Just caught me off guard to know that's where we were headed. But I love it. I love it. Yeah, and especially like you create. Wait, is this? Am I giving spoilers? Is that bad? Should I do it anyway? No?
I think you should. Spoiler alert, I guess.
Spoiler alert. All right. Mute everything if you haven't read it yet. But you like create a new character essentially at the end of those poems, which wrecked me as soon as you like shared her name, Flor, like a daughter of Selena. What inspired you to create this character?
I think I feel so emotional about that character. I wanted her to like, I think I was thinking about how much she wanted children, and you know, like so much of having kids for people is like, I mean maybe not for everybody, but it's like, let me do this one thing right. And this character is like this daughter that she gets to have named Flor, and she just gets to be like a normal kid. She doesn't have the star you know, all the intense stage parent stuff on her. She just gets to have this like normal trajectory, and gets to be this like, and have like disappointments. She like gets married and then gets divorced, and then doesn't have any children. And then I think I wanted, there's something so spooky, and maybe I'm thinking also about this because I'm like approaching 30 and like don't know if I'm gonna have children, but about like a bloodline, it's so dramatic, but like a bloodline ending with a woman and like a daughter who like, and so I wanted this like legacy to, I don't know, continue, and that character, and just like, I don't know, it's just like she doesn't exist. I don't know if I'm making sense now.
No, I just thought it was really beautiful to like give her an existence, and even though it's like your own conceptualization, I think it's still like meaningful for anybody who is aware of like Selena's life, and like that she desired children. And it's definitely really moving. Okay, I'm thinking about time. I have like many other questions I want to ask, but I definitely want to. Oh, you still here?
I'm here.
Okay, hi.
I was checking the time.
Yeah. Also, this is totally unrelated, but it's coincidentally was showing multiple people. I don't know if you've seen the Goofy remix of the Evanescence song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So every time I like notice your shirt, that just comes into my head. So don't mind. Thank you for bringing that into the space. All right. Yeah, for the last 15 minutes, we're just gonna play that video. But anyhow, you, as noted, I don't know if it's like a recent announcement, but there is like a film adaptation.
Oh, that's not set in stone at all.
Okay, never mind.
I'm working on one. Yes, I'm working on something that no one has purchased. But yeah.
I guess my question is like, do you feel, I mean, one, that's like really exciting that you're working on that. And I think like everybody is super, well, if they haven't read it already, super excited to read this book. And also I'm sure going to be extremely excited to like hear what's coming for
Yeah.
you beyond this. Obviously we're in this moment now, but are there certain ways you want this project that you're working on, or at least maybe thinking about, to like live differently or reach people differently, than this book here?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is like so I have like a general like plot for it, and it's pretty similar, but the main thing was like making the resurrection like make more concrete sense. Because it like made sense to me, but so now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna really go hard on like technology and like
Mhm,
devices and whatever. I don't think I can get into it.
mhm,
But I really I want to make if this is a movie, I would love it to, you know, I want people to feel the same thing that they feel reading it, but like on the screen. I'm really excited to like see what I can do with it. Chismosas. Um, and yeah, I think I don't really see any like poetry books become movies besides that
mhm.
like Adam Driver movie Patterson. um yeah, or I don't know, I want poetry to exist in it, and that's been tricky figuring out how.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think sort of like what we were talking about at the very beginning here, we jump around to like so many different images and sensations that like literally smelling like broken Wi-Fi is like
yeah,
something very hard, like an emotional reaction comes with that that's hard to replicate with like an
yeah,
image in the screen.
yeah.
Um, Definitely. All right, I do. I think we have like 10 minutes left. I don't know if you want to read another piece or how you feeling.
Yeah, I can read these alternate endings at the end. Um, does that make sense? Would that be good?
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay. It's like so separate. Or yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Selena doesn't die. She just makes more hits. Another bop. Commercials. She stars in a movie with Johnny Depp. There is a flirtation. There are rumors. I'm burping. She takes a hiatus from music after a throat condition. She buys a farm in San Antonio with white horses and her husband. Johnny calls her at 12:47 a.m. every night. She twists a phone cord around her finger. There is giggling. There is a day that Johnny stops calling. Selena tries to distract herself. Selena looks at her sleeping husband and sees a good man. In the evenings, they look each other in the eye, and one says pizza and the other says pizza. There are days and days of pizza. 5 months go by and still no word from Johnny. Selena cuts her hair on impulse. The locks drop to the bathroom floor, a small, dark, sleeping creature. Selena thinks about selling it, but there is freedom in what you decide to throw away. Selena doesn't return her agent's calls. She is heartbroken, but can't tell anyone about it. Selena eyes a man at the gas station, and one night when her husband is out, she invites him over, and they fuck in the horse stable. She feels very alive. Her husband comes home, and she confesses. He hits her. No. Her husband comes home and she confesses, and he thinks about hitting her, but the white horses interrupt. They buck and they neigh and they demand to be looked at. No. Her husband comes home and she says nothing at all, and he kisses her good night. I love you. I love you too. No. Her husband doesn't come back at all. He climbs into his car and the car evaporates. Poof. Good. Gone. Selena's belly grows rounder and the days stay the same because she is in a sunny place. Her baby comes. She names her Flor because she's always. Selena still isn't dead. She's inspired again. Flor and Selena sing together at the piano. The hits keep coming. A guest spot on Jimmy Fallon. A song featuring Pitbull. There is a goldfish, then a funeral for the goldfish. Selena teaches Flor how to ride a bike, and Flor falls down. Flor gets a scrape on the knee. Selena sings a song about the frog to it, and the song scrapes the dirt out of the wound and seals on its own. Selena's father babysits Flor. She runs around in the yard, chasing the family cat, and the way her hair blows from behind her makes Abraham spooked, in the way that all lineage is a little spooky. a little freaky, a little flash of all the ways things could have been different. But then the moment passes. So long. Bye-bye. He teaches her how to play the drums, and while she's really good, she's too distracted by the sun yelling outside. And well, maybe this kid can just be a kid. Abraham spoils her in a way he never spoiled his children. They all point this out. Flor has it easy. Flor jumping on the trampoline all afternoon. Flor making a puppet show out of Abraham's shoes. Flor with hobbies that can't make any money. Who cares? Flor getting taller now. Flor with budding breasts. Flor lying about where she is. Flor with a pregnancy test banging around in her backpack. Flo's eyes watering with relief when she wakes up to blood swimming down her leg. Flo at a party with C-list celebrities bored. Flo doing cocaine before she graduates high school. Flo with a DUI. Flo's year off before college. Flo missing. Flo, where is Flo? Have you seen her? What did she say when you saw her? Did she seem sad? Did she say anything about me? Flor, if you're seeing this, honey, please come home. Hello? Flor, is that you, baby? Where have you been? Do you need me to come get you? Just stay there. I'll be... Selena still has some time left, so she tries to make the most of it. There is a book deal. There are meetings with a ghostwriter. There is a happy year of cooking together, of showing up to events on each other's arm. Then it's over. There is someone who catches Flor's eye. Another call from far away. I'm in love, Mommy. I'm in love. I'm afraid about what you're going to say. There is a bride waiting anxiously for her mother's face to appear in the pews. There is a modest party with strangers. There are years with no contact. There is a breast lump in the shape of Texas. There are doctor's visits and second opinions and third and fourth opinions and more bad news. There's a nest of gray hair in the bathroom drain. There is a hospital bed. There is a dramatic reunion, hands clenched, foreheads pressed together, sweating, tears. There is something the both of them always needed to hear. There is a notification on our phones. There are shirts for sale at Urban Outfitters, think pieces, vigils, podcasts, face filters. Flor gets a divorce. It was mutual, a slow fade out, the credits rising up like smoke signals. Flor takes vitamins. Flor ignores the white hair springing out of her scalp. Flor starts a candle business, coconut wax with red petals settled spontaneously at the bottom in jars she gathered from street corners and the beach. Flor ships the candles all over the country, sometimes the world, with a line from her mother's songs. Nobody knows it's her. She likes that. The candles burn down. The jars get reused for dinner parties or tossed out again. Another life over. Flor goes to marches. Flor tweets about assassinating the president. Flor deletes her Twitter. Flor throws her phone into the river. Flor stops gathering jars. Flor sells her bicycle. Flor orders a gin and tonic at the bar because even though she's sober, she doesn't believe in absolutes. There is a woman across the bar making eyes at her. The woman lifts up her hand like, hey. Flor lifts up her hand like...
I just keep doing deep breaths. normally there would be like applause and snaps, but
Oh, yeah.
just doing deep breaths. Yeah, I there's a lot that I'm thinking about. I've already touched on. I think with the time left, I have two quick questions.
Cool.
Okay. The
Yes.
first is you mentioned the hit song with featuring Pitbull. I was definitely intrigued by like while you're writing this book, did you envision also like what is the music that Selena creates in this era?
Well,
And then the second is in the chat. What's bringing you both? Okay, so I'll answer that after. But what's bringing you both joy these days? But yeah.
well, I think that was like, I don't know if there would be a Jennifer Lopez, if there'd be a J-Lo without Selena's death. So I think Selena would be making those like songs you hear in the mall or in the club or in the Uber ride with featuring Pitbull.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think there's like a resurgence of older celebs being featured on like dancey songs. Like
Yeah.
was Elton John on the Lil Nas X album,
Oh my
right?
God.
And then like Dolly Parton was on like some EDM track recently. Like I
Yeah.
sort of picture that.
Dolly Parton is eternal.
Is it what?
Eternal.
Yeah. Yes, truly. Okay, that's really interesting to think about. Okay.
Yeah.
So Selena replaces J-Lo, hot take.
Hot take.
Cool. And then what's bringing you both joy these days? I'll start because I want you to close out. What's bringing me joy these days? Let me think. A lot is bringing me joy. My roommate's cat gives me really bad allergies, but I like petting her, so it's a sacrifice I make each and every day. So yeah, that kitty, petting that kitty's belly is giving me joy these days.
Sweet. I don't know. I randomly feel like a lot of joy these days. I think it's just been really I really am like grateful for like my best friend Paloma, and I feel like she was with me this weekend for like 5 days. It was like 5 days and then into the weekend. And I was just like, oh, I feel so much like joy around you because I like you know me the best. And yeah, and I'm just so glad I can like see people, and that just like whenever I see people I'm like like extrovert activation. Yeah, my friend.
Yeah, I feel like that vaccine has some like extrovert juice in it.
Oh yeah,
they put something in there.
Yeah.
Another hot take.
Juice,
extrovert juice. Yeah. They don't want to tell you. They don't want to talk about it, but it's in there.
That EJ.
Yeah. On that note, we're gonna pass it back. Thank you so much, Melissa. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks for talking to me.
And I want to also thank you both, and thank you everyone for being here tonight for this conversation. Just so everybody knows, the video will be available to view again at this link after the event ends, so feel free to share. And it will also be available on YouTube with closed captioning shortly as well. Also, as a reminder, you can buy the book on our website, and that's the best way to support the authors tonight and your local feminist bookstore. So thank you again. Thank you for attending. Hope to see you again soon.
Thanks so much for having me. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Have a great night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.